If I were Caitlyn Clark, I would seriously consider going to play overseas somewhere and get the royal treatment and get real money. I know that Caitlyn makes a ton of money off the court in terms of endorsements, and rightfully so. But I think that there's a petty jealousy, and she's a straight white basketball player, and she is not being treated with any sort of respect whatsoever.
It looks like Caitlyn Clark is just as tired of the WNBA dump as I am. It appears that Caitlyn Clark is tired of dealing with a league of pretenders. Told you guys yesterday, the WNBA deserves what they get, and it's looking more and more likely that the dreams of jealous, entitled WNBA players could be coming true. Caitlyn Clark looks like she has had enough, and according to some, the Great White Hope actually quit on her team Wednesday night. Wednesday night, the Indiana Clarks were playing at home against the most masculine team in the league, the Phoenix Masculines. Now, this is the same team that drafted Bob Griner, who many believe is actually masculine. And the Masculines now have Al Thomas, or as her teammates prefer to call her, the Enforcer. The pretend basketball game Wednesday night was notable for a couple of reasons, both of which have little to do with the actual basketball on the court in this dump of a league. Number one, the Indiana Clarks once again failed to sell out a game at home. There were approximately 2,000 empty seats Wednesday night in the arena. And two, Caitlyn Clark was once again physically assaulted by a WNBA player. Wednesday night, she was physically assaulted by Al Thomas. At some point in the second half, Caitlyn Clark was taken out of the game. Now, I don't know exactly when this happened because obviously I was not wasting my time watching this unentertaining garbage. I know Caitlyn Clark fans like to pretend that the Indiana Clarks are a fun team to watch, but they're not. The magic is gone. The polish has melted off the turd. And I think it's mainly because Caitlyn Clark has had enough. You can tell by her body language, the constant outbursts, losing her temper. Steph White, she can pretend all she wants that me and Kate are besties. I love my girl, and I will defend her honor. Steph White and the Fever organization, they can pretend all they want that everything is fine, but something is seriously off with Caitlyn Clark. People who are happy at their job, you know what they don't do? They don't constantly complain. They don't lose emotional control. To be honest with you, I think Caitlyn Clark is tired of getting her ass kicked. And like Uncle KC, I think she is tired of this toxic dump of a league. At some point in the second half, the Great White Hope was taken out of the game and she never returned. Naturally, the Indiana Clarks lost because this team is a flaming ass fire when Caitlyn Clark isn't on the court. In the past 36 hours, there's been a lot of speculation as to why the Great White Hope didn't return. Now, some are claiming that she re-aggravated her back injury. I'm sure having her face pounded by Al Thomas, who seems to have forgotten that professional wrestling is equivalent to the basketball in the WNBA. It ain't real. I'm sure Caitlyn Clark having her face pounded by Al Thomas wasn't exactly beneficial to her ongoing back problems. But there's another conspiracy theory. Me personally, I hope this theory is true because this could be the genesis. This could be the beginning of the end for the WNBA dump. Uncle KC, why would you want the WNBA to end? Pretend basketball is great for your channel during the summer. Yeah, I was actually talking to one of my long-term viewers about this yesterday. Like me, he absolutely despises the WNBA. Words cannot describe the level of disgust I have for this league, which normally leads to the natural question, why do you talk about the WNBA? Well, for starters, the audience drives the topics on this channel. You guys decide what I talk about. But I think most of you are like me. Your only interest in the WNBA is the inevitable destruction. I'm sure you have noticed I'm not breaking down pretend basketball games. I'm not talking about the basketball itself. Most of my WNBA videos have to do with the unbelievable levels of incompetence in this league, and my dream that one day this dump of a league will return to its rightful place of irrelevance or just go out of business altogether. Anyway, there's a conspiracy theory circulating that Caitlyn Clark was benched by Steph White Wednesday night, and her response to being benched was to quit on her team. Someone named John Liquidator, which is an interesting name. I'm not familiar with John, but if he's actually a liquidator, I hope he is liquidating the WNBA's limited assets so the process of going out of business can officially begin. But apparently, John was at the game the other night between the Clarks and the Masculines. He filmed exclusive footage of what was happening on the bench when Caitlyn Clark mysteriously disappeared from the game. Watch it for yourself.
Do it look like her back hurt? Just chat. Do it look like Caitlyn back hurt right now?
Look, I am not a body language expert, but you don't need to be an expert to recognize obvious body language. Does that look like a happy star to you? Does that look like someone who is invested in this team? Just to be clear, I am not blaming Caitlyn Clark for quitting if that's what happened. In the vast majority of cases, quitting is never the answer, but there are rare exceptions, and this is one of those rare exceptions. For 3 years, Caitlyn Clark has been unappreciated. For 3 years, this young woman has been diminished. The WNBA has tried to credit everyone else for elevating this turd into the mainstream. She's been physically assaulted. She's been abused. Hell, she was just left off the poster where the WNBA was celebrating 30 years of financial losses and 30 years of huge embarrassing failure. Uncle Casey, that was disproven. According to Darren Rovell, the WNBA couldn't use Caitlyn Clark's image. It was illegal. What? Excuse me? Let me make sure I'm understanding you correctly. For starters, I looked down the list of people I trust. Darren Rovell did not make the list. But according to Devin, the WNBA couldn't use Caitlyn Clark's image because she would not allow it? Which means the WNBA isn't allowed to promote their own players? Does that make sense to you? Because what you're basically telling me is Caitlyn Clark is more powerful than LeBron James. She's more powerful than Steph Curry, Michael Jordan. She's the only player, to my knowledge, who gets to dictate when her employer is allowed to use her image. Does that make sense to you? That's like saying ESPN can't use Stephen A. Smith's image to promote their network, or Pat McAfee. It is abundantly clear at this point, Caitlyn Clark is not welcome in the WNBA. She turned minimum wage earners into overnight millionaires. She elevated this league, which has been circling the pooper for 3 decades, and Caitlyn Clark elevated pretend basketball into the mainstream. She has given them every reason to appreciate her, yet for some reason, the WNBA seems to want Caitlyn Clark to go away. The question is why? I'm starting to wonder if the WNBA is realizing they are not ready for prime time. I'm starting to wonder if the league actually wants to return to being a niche product. Obviously, they want to keep the money, but I'm starting to wonder if the WNBA thinks that they can sustain without Caitlyn Clark and her fan base. You see, the WNBA is heavily criticized by casual viewers, but the league is heavily appreciated by their audience of identifiers. This is our league. American flags are not allowed. We only fly rainbow flags. It's no secret that the WNBA is an activist league. Activism has always taken precedence over basketball, which is why the product on the court never improves. I'll show you another example of what I'm talking about. This is a sequence last night between the Dallas Wankers and the Las Vegas Anonymous Faces. AJ Wilson, Paige Beckers. According to the mainstream media, these ladies are huge stars. Supposedly, Paige and AJ are the best players in the league. Now, just to be clear, this is not a compilation of unbelievably bad basketball that happened throughout 4 quarters. This sequence happened in less than 60 seconds. Watch it for yourself.
The spin move. Tries the dish, no. AZ comes up with a loose ball. Such a outstanding force defensively this year for the Wings. Chelsea Gray lost it. The Wings had it, lost it, got it back again.
Watch your back. Watch your back. They're coming behind you.
Zaza with 1-on-4. Takes it inside.
Oh, look at that.
Lead is cut to 6.
Does that look like professional basketball to you? Are you starting to understand why I call it pretend basketball? I have seen more athleticism in wheelchair basketball. I have seen better basketball in my 9-year-old nephew's Pee Wee League. The on-court product in this league is the drizzling shits. And I'm starting to wonder if the WNBA realizes they're not ready for prime time. This league is not ready for a mainstream audience. And I'm wondering if that plays a very small part in the WNBA wanting Caitlyn Clark to go away. Because if she leaves, she's taking the mainstream audience with her. Me personally, and obviously this is just me speculating, but I think Caitlyn Clark is thinking about it. I think she is strongly considering walking away from the WNBA. Maybe she plays overseas. Maybe she plays in Project B if they can ever get that league off the ground. Or maybe she emulates Michael Jordan and takes a 2-year break. I've been telling you guys since the season started, something is off. Something is not right. Caitlyn Clark looks like she is burnt out. And if you've ever reached the point where you're burnt out, whether it's your job, marriage, friendship, relationship, once you reach burnout stage, it's over. There is no coming back, at least in the short term. But you tell me, is Caitlyn Clark burnt out? Did she quit on her team the other night? Or is this just another conspiracy theory? You tell me. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.